This week on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime on My 24 Milwaukee, we take a look at how the WWE landscape changed not just this past Wednesday, but also this past Monday on Raw. The shocking return of Seth Rollins and two more stars released from WWE this week. All that along with hot news, the Event Center, DWHS, and this week's Diamond of the Ring. So sit back, relax, and get ready for the longest running talk show in the world right here, right now about wrestling on My 24 Milwaukee and Fight TV.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime TV, the longest running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night here on My 24 Milwaukee. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius Tiberius, the alleged backyard one-time straight edge knockout hardcore Hall of Famer.
How did you not get that right?
What do you mean get it right?
You said it for like 4 years now.
It's my line. It's not. It comes from memory.
Oh.
You know, this is our third episode this weekend. Perhaps things are getting a little foggy for me. I haven't had Jameson in 3 days.
Is that what that is?
The drink, yes.
Well, I wasn't
Jameson
implying
Black
anything
Barrel.
Else. What?
Black Barrel Jameson.
Now you're putting words in your mouth.
Let's get to this week's big story, ladies and gentlemen.
And a Black Barrel.
And of course, as always, the big story this week is brought to you by Gruber Law Offices. Gruber Law Offices is ready to represent you in your personal injury case and get you the compensation that you deserve. So give them a call at 414-276-6666 for your free consultation right now. Now, earlier this week, WWE made a blockbuster announcement that SmackDown will be moving to Tuesdays live on the USA Network. That move is to take place on July 19th, and there will be a draft occurring prior to that date because both shows will have a separate roster and distinct storylines.
Have they said if it's at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Central Time?
I believe SmackDown will be airing from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central, 8 to 10
That's
Eastern.
Huge. That's big.
Now, WWE's Vince McMahon took to the WWE.com and released the following statement regarding the move. And I quote, WWE's flagship programs will both leverage the incredible depth of our talent roster, distinct storylines, and unpredictable nature of live TV. This move will undoubtedly build more excitement and deepen engagement with our fans around the world. Now, David, of course, this is something that many fans have desired for a long time, but there is one, the most important piece of this story that a lot of people didn't expect was the brand split coming back.
It's interesting because didn't WCW do this and then they failed shortly after?
With Thunder and Nitro? I think they had failed before they did this. And they lost $65 million in 2000.
I'm pretty confident WWE is going to do this extremely well.
They did it before. We talked about that on Thursday.
Now it's live, and now it's not taped, and they have a lot of younger guys that are hungry to grab that, como se dice, that brass ring they've talked about. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to make it very interesting for both brands because now you got guys that want to get to the top. And when you separate different talents to their own shows, now they have more opportunities and TV time to get themselves over to become a valuable asset.
That is very true, David Hero, and you know we talked in-depthly about both of these, or about this, on two special episodes of Primetime, which are available right now at PWRshow.com. We even came up with our fantasy draft rosters, if you will, for the second time this year because we have our own draft rosters.
It's a pretty solid draft.
But looking at if it were to happen today, what that WWE draft would be reflective of, that right now, PWRshow.com on special Thursday and Friday edition of Primetime, this being our third episode of Primetime this week. We're going to be like Dateline NBC shortly. No, remember they used to be on 5 nights a week?
Were they?
Back with Stone Phillips and Jane.
Stone Phillips?
Stone Phillips and Jane, what was her name? Polly.
Yes. Mm-hmm. How about that?
You know, but one thing we didn't really get too deep into, David Hero, we talked about it a little bit yesterday on Primetime, but what about the pay-per-view and live events? Because under the last brand split, the shows each had their own pay-per-view events, and they would only come together for the big four events, of course, that being WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam. Now, assuming this is the case again, this could afford the opportunity for two things. Number one, they keep their current pay-per-view schedule and spend more time building stories between the events, which will be beneficial for sure. Or number two, they add more events, and each brand has a monthly pay-per-view, which would give us events every 2 to 3 weeks.
They have the network now.
They do have the network.
They can create a pay-per-view type event whenever they want.
They can do a special event whenever they want.
They can. So I'm sure they have agreements with certain buildings that said, hey, we're going to be here for this. We're going to make it a network exclusive show.
Yeah. If the building cares, to be honest with you, because they really just want those tickets sold.
And that's how to boost tickets.
Yeah, that's true.
Isn't that what they did on that Roadblock gimmick, right?
I think Roadblock was more about subscribers. And keep in mind, that's why option 2 is a lot more desirable for them.
Yes.
Because now instead of once a month doing that subscriber push, they're getting it every couple of weeks. Because arguably a lot of the shows they've sort of thrown at the wall on the network haven't stuck as much as they want them to.
Well, I don't know. The Edge and Christian show is pretty entertaining. You don't, but
to me, it's like an episode of SpongeBob. I get very confused very fast.
Really?
There's too much happening. Too many cuts.
You know what? I didn't, but you don't understand good humor.
I don't?
No.
I love ice cream
You're not
bars.
a funny ha-ha guy.
I'm a broadcast journalist. Again, though, much more discussion on this, including what talents we would build both shows around right now online at PWRshow.com.
Seth Rollins is back in WWE, but what will be next for the former WWE champion? Which 2 stars asked for and were given their releases from WWE last week? Who is this week's Diamond of the Ring? Find out the answers to these questions and many more when Primetime returns here on My 24 Milwaukee and Fight TV.
Don't miss your chance to catch the best pro wrestling on the planet. Ring of Honor Wrestling, when the Road to Best in the World Tour rolls into Milwaukee on Sunday, June 12th at the Turner Hall Ballroom with a 7 p.m. bell time. Featuring Jay Lethal, The Briscoes, Adam Cole, The Young Bucks, and more. Experience body slamming, super kicking, pro wrestling action live. Visit ROHWrestling.com now for tickets and info.
At Gruber Law Offices, we understand that when you've been injured, life is tough. That's why we offer so many services for free. First call, free. First consultation, free. Stuck at home or in the hospital? We'll come to you for free. We'll deal with the insurance company for you and get you the help you need. Call Gruber Law Offices now. We don't get paid until you do, and your first consultation is always free.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the Pro Wrestling Report here on My 24 Milwaukee and Fight TV. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero here on Saturday, May 28th, 2016. And what a week it's been, David Hero. Big news from the wrestling business, and WWE news continues.
You know what? Everybody wants to know, have you been okay? Are you all right?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you know, Cody left and Brandy left with him, and we know that you're a Cody Rhodes guy. And
he's endorsed.
You guys shared that moment at that Bradley Center show when he had someone hand deliver you.
Fourth wall.
Oh, but this doesn't exist here. Kayfabe, throw it out the window.
Maybe you should reconsider that.
Why?
Your name's all over the internet every week now.
Why is that?
That's right, because you can't not. That's why it is. You can't not. David Hero can't not. It's like Parker Lewis can't lose. Remember that show? David Hero can't not.
Yes.
Folks, let's go to this week's WWE News. I'll get to Cody later. This week's WWE News is indeed brought to you by Fight TV, which also features dozens of wrestling viewing options, boxing, MMA, and of course the Pro Wrestling Report as well. That app is free, folks. You can get it right now on the Google Play and iTunes stores and start watching, including Pro Wrestling Report, including those episodes of Primetime from yesterday and Thursday that I told you about.
And you get a whole lot of SoCal Val.
A whole lot of SoCal Val, and that is never a bad thing.
She is fantastic.
Folks, this past Monday, WWE Raw was one of the most significant episodes in the show's history. This almost got lost with Wednesday's announcement. Now, I took to Twitter and said such a thing this past Monday night.
You didn't get blasted for that.
Let me explain, though, what I was thinking, which was I am not saying that it was a good show or a bad show. I didn't say it sucked. I didn't say it was great, but it was a significant show for sure. Now, for weeks, we've been talking about the new era in WWE, and a couple of weeks ago, we even speculated on this new era pushing out the old guard. You remember that, David Hero?
Yes.
Well, I never thought that it would be done as boldly as it was in Baltimore Monday night.
Which is a very interesting town to do something that volatile in.
Yeah. Volatile. Good choice of words there, because it was, actually.
It's Baltimore.
The endorsed Sami Zayn defeated Sheamus. Kevin Owens defeated AJ Styles. Cesaro defeated The Miz, and Dean Ambrose defeated Dolph Ziggler.
Yes.
All in one night on one show on Raw.
How about that?
Match after match after match, it became clearer and clearer to me that WWE is firmly planted in this new direction with the new era, and seemingly that new direction does not include the stars of old. Let me explain. Let's look at Sheamus for a minute. He has been around WWE for years and is a multi-time champion.
Hall of Famer.
But he got defeated and pushed to the side by Sami Zayn in the Money in the Bank qualifying matchup.
Keep in mind how big that actually is, though.
Clean.
It's even bigger than you think, because Sheamus is getting a huge push with the Ninja Turtles movie right now.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And he did the 1, 2, 3 clean.
Clean. Now, he got some of it back afterwards, and I enjoyed the intensity of Sheamus when he attacked Apollo Crews after the matchup, which, by the way, seemingly was the only way to explain why he was the one new guy who lost, because he lost to Jericho. But Sheamus was he seemed old, comparatively speaking, to everything else that was happening in the show. And Sheamus is by no stretch old.
No. He's a legit star. And, he's been a go-to guy for them.
And after that, I began to think about the likes of Randy Orton, John Cena, and some of the other stars, and say to myself, I don't see how they fit in this quote-unquote new era. Now, Wednesday's announcement that we've been talking about of the brand split and SmackDown going live on Tuesdays explains it away a little bit, but it doesn't take away the significance of WWE building their flagship show this past Monday night around these new era talents. Now, I don't know if I like it or I don't, but I'm intrigued. Seth Rollins returning even seemed a bit off to me this past Monday. He, too, seemed old, and that's weird because he's nowhere near old.
He's not. But we've seen all of these younger, newer, fresher faces now, and Rollins has been around for 4 years.
Mm-hmm. But it did seem that WWE has learned a huge lesson, David Hero, with the booking of this year's WrestleMania, and they are focusing on building new stars and a deeper roster so they have more options, especially in the case of another injury epidemic. Now, as I said before, this past Monday's Raw was significant and seemingly showed that WWE is planted in a new direction and is going through a soft reset now of their roster. Now, that soft reset on Monday was a hard reboot on Wednesday with the announcement that they made.
Yeah, it was ridiculous but needed.
So Raw this past Monday night, what reasoning do you think there is for such a bold statement without a statement of all these stars winning?
Because
these new stars.
Because now you're having two different brands. The guys that
they knew that though Monday.
Right.
It makes a little more sense now. They knew that Monday.
And they have to get these guys over now. Sami Zayn is a guy that can beat Sheamus.
Clean.
But he can't beat Kevin Owens.
They've got a 14-year history.
But you know what I mean?
Kevin Owens knows him. Sheamus doesn't know him.
Right. So it's just they're now elevating these guys because they need to elevate these guys quick.
So we talked about all those people, and all of them and Jericho are in the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yes.
Why is Jericho in it? He seems to stick out like a sore thumb.
Well, first I think it's the way of repaying him for the thumbtack spot. It's also the match.
But that match in general he needs to be repaid for.
It's also a match. The Money in the Bank is the match he came up with.
He did come. He talked about that on this very show a couple of years back. Did Chris Jericho.
You need a guy that can direct traffic
and slow the rest down.
Yes.
Yeah. He's the veteran that's going to control the match.
That can do that.
Good point, David Hero. That is this week's WWE report.
Still to come here on Primetime, Diamond of the Ring, DWHS, the Event Center, and the draft results from Extreme Rules. All that and much more when Primetime returns here on My 24 Milwaukee and Fight TV.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report. Prime time Saturday night here on My 24 Milwaukee. And it's rained a couple of days here in Milwaukee, David Hero, but beyond those little brief snippets of rain, it has been a tremendous weather week. Summer is here.
Butterflies.
Sunshine in May.
You just got to watch out for those bees. Those bees are back.
When John Cena comes back to Raw Monday night.
In Green Bay.
What is he going to do? It is in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
He is going to make that place go banana.
Banana?
Banana. And it's going to be interesting, like, who is he going to go after?
Well, you said Rusev.
Or who's going to go after him?
Ooh. Pick the most intriguing person to go after him.
Baron Corbin.
How would that end?
I think Baron Corbin.
I know what you said yesterday about SmackDown and Corbin and Cena sharing the same roster over there. But
I think Baron Corbin gets over on Cena and shocks the world. You got to build up these younger guys so that they mean something. As much as I want to see him and Rusev, because I like the dynamics they have. We've seen it a million times, and it's on Memorial Day, so I can see him going after Rusev on Memorial Day.
He's got to win the United States Championship on Memorial Day, doesn't he?
You know?
Doesn't he? He has to. And that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, Hogan beat Nikolai Volkov on Memorial Day one year.
Did he really?
Yeah.
What day was it that the Iron Sheik beat? Oh, no, Hogan beat Sheik, January 24, 83, January 23, 84.
Yeah, 84.
Let's go to hot news, though, folks. Hot news is brought to you by PWR Reaction, which is on the air twice weekly, Mondays and Wednesdays at pwrshow.com. Now, on that show, you can call in and share your thoughts in this very interactive format. All the details available now at pwrshow.com. Now, David, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Are you ready? Do you know what I wasn't ready for?
What's that?
Captain America. He's a bad guy. He's a heel now.
You stop with the spoiler on the comic book series of Captain America?
Well, there's other nonsense about him, too, right now. Him and Bucky got something
That's
going on.
internet crap. Will you stop that? Are you
so
kidding
confused.
me? Are you kidding me? Really? The internet, really?
He's a gay Nazi all the time.
No, he is not. There's a speech bubble in a comic book that was recently released that hasn't necessarily been explained yet that people are speculating on. This other thing was the internet trying to be matchmaker for people who aren't interested in each other.
Why are they trying to screw
And they're
up
fictitious
Why are they
characters.
trying to screw up an American icon?
WWE has come to terms on the release of 2 talents over the last week, and both were granted at the request of the talent. Actually, 3, David Hero. Firstly, Adam Rose, who's been battling some issues as of late, including a recent arrest for domestic battery, was granted his release from WWE. Now, while the release is no surprise, it was a bit surprising to find out that Rose was the one who requested it.
Oh, why?
Well, he knows what happened in that
Third strike
arrest.
and you're fired. Leave now.
Leave on your own terms?
Yeah.
Next, what David Hero's been alluding to, the endorsed Cody Rhodes and his wife Brandi Rhodes were granted their releases from WWE over the course of the last few days. Now, Cody Rhodes took to Twitter with the news, first actually explaining that, or announcing that he'd asked for his release, and then explaining afterwards once it was granted, saying, and I quote, "Monday was whimsical." Almost Stardust there, it seems. Monday was whimsical because I felt that fearlessness in my blood, even if it was just for a fleeting moment. You're referring to being in Greensboro. You're referring to the history in that building. And he continued to say, I realized that I don't need to sell myself to these 2 head Raw and SmackDown writers captioning a broken, unrecognizable system. Matter of fact, with the time I had put in and the body of work I presented, it should have been the other way around. I realized that blood is thicker than paint, that I know who I am and what I'm capable of. I'm not Dusty Rhodes. I'm Cody Rhodes, a pro wrestler.
How about that? I mean, good for him. He can leave on his own terms, you know.
You know, I think what needs to be said, though, is few people get the opportunity to get their dream job and get paid well doing it. Cody Rhodes got his dream job and got paid well doing it, yet his principle, his belief in himself, gave him the courage to walk away from all that. It's pretty impressive.
And you've handled this pretty well. I mean, I've checked in on you a few times. I mean, dude.
We're going to be fine. Cody's going to be fine. I'm going to be fine.
We're?
Yeah.
You guys are going to be fine?
Yeah, I'm going to endorse him continuously wherever he chooses to go, whenever he chooses to go there. He says he wants to continue wrestling. Perhaps.
And you have a scoop and you can't share it?
I don't share scoops. Remember, I don't share scoops. What's your Twitter name again?
Trouble.
You know, of course, I do have a lot more to say about Rhodes' departure from the company, and you can check out this week's Real Talk podcast, which is available now at PWRshow.com. Now, as of this taping, though, Goldust made it a point to be clear that he was remaining with the company, the brother of Cody Rhodes.
Yes, and it's funny because
he had to do it because a lot of people were speculating that the family was leaving.
There's a lot of speculation. It's no secret that Goldust is a friend of the show.
Yeah.
He's a friend of ours, and, you know, I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He goes, I ain't going nowhere.
That's what Dustin would say.
Yes. And he's not. And
Yeah.
he should. You know why? He's doing great. He is wrestling right now like he's in his late 20s, hitting on all cylinders. And he's got a good thing going with the Golden Truth. This week's Robert Hack Diamond of the Ring is the underground underdog, Sami Zayn.
The underdog from the underground, endorsed
What did I just
Sami
call him?
Zayn.
What did I call him?
The underground underdog.
It's all the same. It all means the same thing.
Do you own the T-shirt?
No, of
It
course.
says it right on there. Maybe you should get one.
I don't. He's the guy with the cool theme music. Sami Zayn gets the big clean
You condescending.
pinfall victory over
He's the guy with
Sheamus.
the cool theme music.
He does.
There's much more to him than that.
You know what? I got a minute
He's
to get
not
this
generic.
in, okay? And you're like taking my spot.
How does it feel, David Hero?
Bro,
Because I'm looking at the
are
timekeepes.
you? I'm not. I don't know how much time I have. But all I'm saying is Robert Hack's Diamond of the Ring is Sami
He
Zayn.
endorsed Sami Zayn. Good job, David
It
Hero.
doesn't matter if you endorse him.
It does matter if I endorse.
Anyhow.
Oh, do they really?
Yes.
Do they really?
Daniel Bryan, gone.
I never endorsed
Cody
Daniel
Rhodes
Bryan.
gone.
He's the only endorsed talent who is no longer in the business that has been endorsed. In the history of the
I've
endorsements,
never
he's the only one.
researched
The only one.
I think you're
one
right.
changed companies, and the other did ask for his release. Bubba Ray changed companies.
The PWR Fantasy Draft is moving right along after more points were scored at Sunday's Extreme Rules event. Last month at Payback, the Nelson family took the early lead and won with 230 points, while the Super Friends scored 205 points. Well, what a difference a month makes as the Super Friends have leapt into the lead after Extreme Rules. The family scored 265 points with an MVP of Charlotte with 75 points, and the Super Friends scored 320 total points with an MVP of Roman Reigns. With these scores, the Super Friends have now gotten a total of 525 points to the 495 points of the Nelson family, keeping it a close race. Points will be scored again at NXT TakeOver in June. And after the break, we discuss some good news for TNA Wrestling, this week's DWHS, and the Event Center. Primetime returns in just a few moments.
The Soder family thought they'd take a road trip this summer. A little fun, a little sun. What could possibly go wrong? Even under the best driving conditions, semi-trucks can still be dangerous. The results of being in a wreck with 40 tons of steel and speed can be catastrophic. And it only gets worse when you don't have Gruber Law Offices on your side. If you or a loved one has been injured by a semi-truck, call Gruber Law Offices now. One call, that's all.
Hi gang, Mean Gene Okerlund here on My 24, and you're watching the Pro Wrestling Report. All of the news about wrestling, not only here in Milwaukee, but throughout the world. Stay up to date. Join us every Saturday night.
Claim your cash for the Robert Hack Diamonds $250,000 gold buying event going on now. We're paying top dollar for your gold. Bring in your gold rings, gold chains, gold bracelets, and claim your cash. Bring in your diamond rings, diamond pendants, loose diamonds, and claim your cash. Bring in your state jewelry, your antique jewelry, and heritage jewelry, and claim your cash. It's fast and easy. If we can't beat a competitor's offer on your scrap gold, we'll give you $20 just for trying.
Robert Hack Diamonds. Fingers looking good.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report. Prime time Saturday night. Hey, we can start. Can we do that New Day dance?
No, I'm not gyrating my hips like that with you around here. It's very uncomfortable.
New Day does it, and they stand very close to each other when they do it. And I'm not wearing a unicorn
They also
horn.
have a huge horn that they blow.
I'm sorry?
That horn thing.
That's a trombone, saxophone, trombone.
Trombone? Sure.
Folks, let's get to this week's TNA Impact Wrestling Report. And last week we reported on the exclusion.
When was the last time you had bootios?
I don't eat, in the morning I have oatmeal.
Booty oatmeal?
No, I have oatmeal because it's the best breakfast you could have and the most important meal of the day. But earlier this week, actually, David Hero, we talked about TNA Impact being on Tuesdays on Pop TV,
Yes.
and WWE SmackDown moving live to Tuesdays on the USA Network as of July 19th. What we didn't get to, though, was the speculation or the decision that TNA and Impact Wrestling has to make with their deal with Pop TV, which was recently addressed by TNA Pop TV president Bradley Schwartz. Spoke to our friend Mike Johnson of PWInsider.com, saying that their relationship with Impact is amazing and that they have a long-term deal with Dixie Carter and Impact Wrestling. Now, last time SmackDown moved nights from Friday to Thursday. Impact moved from Thursday to Tuesday or Friday. I think they were on Destination America at that point. It's difficult to keep track. They've been on every night of the week. But what do they do now, David Hero? They're up against live SmackDown on Tuesdays, at least for 1 hour.
Do you think it came into conversation in the corporate offices where they're like, hey, you know what? Are you sure you want to go live on Tuesday because we got Impact?
That never brought up. Come on, you know it wasn't brought up.
They didn't even think about it.
300. Now they did do good this week with their Mayhem episode. 359,000 viewers, up from the 331 of last week at 311.
Al Snow was wrestling Grado.
Well, he equals ratings.
And beat the...
It was the podcast reference, because they talked about Al Snow quite extensively on the Shane McMahon podcast Monday night,
yes,
and people had to tune in to Tuesday to see what it was all about.
Absolutely right.
Do they move nights? Yes or no?
They have to. There's no question. They have to. Wouldn't you?
They did. They seemingly would again.
I would go on at 3 in the morning if I had to not go against a live SmackDown.
Can a live SmackDown help them?
No.
By bringing attention to...
Of course not.
All right. Well, that is this week's TNA Report, ladies and gentlemen. And now let's go to this week's Event Center.
Welcome to the PWR Event Center, brought to you by Casablanca on Brady, bringing you the finest in Middle Eastern cuisine in a truly unique dining experience. Head on down to Casablanca for some great food and some tremendous hookah featuring my favorite flavor, Triple X. Ring of Honor invades Milwaukee on Sunday, June 12th for the road to Best in the World. See the stars of ROH at Turner Hall in Milwaukee on June 12th. Tickets are going fast and available now at papstheater.org. See live pro wrestling over 2 huge shows on the same day in Wisconsin. First, join us at the Thirsty Beaver in Beaver Dam on July 9th at 3 p.m., where former WWE star Kevin Thorne will be in action. From there, on the same night, see former WWE and TNA star Mr. Kennedy in action at the Ashapen Fireman's Picnic at 6 p.m. Details on both events along with tickets are available at blizzardbrawl.com. That's it for this week's Event Center, brought to you by Casablanca on Brady.
Well, David, it's time for DWHS.
Well, it is DWHS. It's the spoken word, and it's simple. Wrestling fans, please, I'm begging you. Stop. Just stop. If you're spending all this money to go to a show that you hate, just let someone else buy your tickets. We hear Roman Reigns can't wrestle when he has a great match with AJ Styles.
Still can't wrestle.
He had
has
an
good moments in that
amazing match with AJ Styles. And then to watch the fans chant boring at Ric Flair during his segment with his daughter Charlotte is just rude and inexcusable.
And disrespectful.
Disrespectful. So if you hate it that much...
No one bought a ticket to see them.
Just go. Don't even go. Just let other...
GTFO?
Let wrestling fans buy those tickets that want to be entertained, that want to have fun. You can't hijack the show because we stopped caring about you. This is the last time I'm going to bring it up because it's just...
I spoke about it extensively on Tuesday on Real Talk.
But it's to the point now where now you're just embarrassing yourselves. You're not even real wrestling fans. You're just trolls.
We're going to...
That, David Hero, has spoken.
And it's probably a good idea for all speaking to cease on this show. After that statement, David Hero, for you, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next Saturday here on Primetime.